This is VM Degree, and if you want people to like your movies, you might have to kill a few of your babies. I'm your host, Corey Johnson, and this week's episode is in response to this email. Hi, Corey. Well, hi. Can you tell me how to get people to like my movies? As I see it, there are really two questions there. How do I make likable movies, and how do I get people to see those likable movies? And since you can't have the second without the first, we're going to be focusing on making likable movies. And for that kind of always comes down to killing babies. No, I don't mean that in the graphic or literal sense. What I mean is the idea of cutting out pieces of the movie that I've become deeply attached to as an artist or a creative. The Script Lab refers to this as the 100% rule, meaning that you only want to keep parts of your script that you are 100% confident are necessary for your movie, and you should cut out anything that you really like, but you're only 99 or 90% confident that it needs to be there. But that doesn't really get at how I think of things. I think a lot of people are pushing too hard on this idea of the artist's vision and constantly trying to be true to that vision. When in reality, the experience of watching your film for an audience member takes place between them and the film while you're not present, which means that your audience does not care about your creative process, your vision, or your intense love for the subject of your film, unless you can somehow convey that love to them through the film itself. It's also why your friends won't read the history and maps appendix of your Dragon Ball Z fanfiction. Let me put it another way. Let's say you have an idea for a movie where a janitor gets locked inside a school with a bunch of gang members. While you're in pre-production, you have this great idea for a dolly shot where you slowly move in as the janitor decides to take action, and to symbolize this, he puts on a hat. So you build a DIY dolly, you meticulously light the scene, you find a hat, you record 4 takes, and in the end you just love the shot. It is the crown jewel of your short film. But then, in the final edit, it really slows down the pacing, so when your audience sees it, it feels more like this. So at this point, you can either publish a selfish and boringly slow video, or you can kill the baby, cut the shot to less than a second to keep the pacing up. The second sequence is totally better. We were able to show his preparation, keep the pacing and energy up, but none of that would have been possible if we had held on to that symbolic dolly shot. You see, your audience didn't have that idea. They didn't build that dolly, and they weren't there during production while you shot it. They have no attachment to your story, so when it arrives with things that are not immediately interesting to them, they get bored and they don't appreciate your work. That's why killing your baby is an important principle for making your films more likable. It forces you to evaluate what's interesting or entertaining to your audience and cut or change everything else, no matter how much you like it. Cutting out unnecessary things is an editing process, so you definitely don't want to do it in your first draft or with your initial ideas, but it's a great way to refine a story into something more appealing to audiences. How a story is being told is as important as what is being told, and refining your idea in pre-production, production, and post-production gives it the best chance of being likable. This process doesn't really apply to the idea of coming up with a first draft or brainstorming, but once you've got some ideas that you think are really likable, now it's time to try and refine those ideas into something that audiences would care about. Let us know in the comments below if you have any ideas for making movies more likable, and please subscribe to our channel. You can tweet at me here or join the conversation on Facebook.
That phrase.
No, absolutely not.
I'm gonna clean your face.